the marijuana industry. We have High Tide, of course, making that agreement to combine with Metagrowth. That's going to give them 63 retail locations across Canada. That number means they end up being the largest retailer. So let's get some perspective on the deal and what they hope to achieve and grow. Raj Grover joins us now, President and CEO of High Tide. Raj, good to see you.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so let's talk about this deal. Other than that title itself of being able to have the bragging rights, saying we have the most retail locations across Canada, what does this hookup present in terms of growth opportunities, in terms of expertise?
No, we're definitely very excited, Greg. And, this is a transformational transaction for High Tide. We go from 37 locations currently to 63 locations overnight, making us the largest Canadian cannabis retailer. We're going to have annualized revenue of $133 million. And just to put things in perspective, all of our 2018 revenue was just $8.7 million. So really nice progression there. We've also identified $8 to $9 million in cost synergies to be realized in the first year itself, which include redundant public company cost or optimization, elimination of dark leases, and corporate overhead. And then, a big strategic part of our rationale to do this transaction was the combined company will have a really good balance sheet going forward with $21 million of cash in hand, with access to an additional $12 million to sustain our growth initiatives. And we intend to double this number next year. So by the end of 2021, we're looking at 115 stores for the combined company. And last but not the least, I also see a big opportunity in our data analytics program called Cabanalytics. So we get to monetize that, and the sheer scale of the deal also doubles that value for us. So really excited about the transaction overall.
As we go around the country, different provinces have made different strides in terms of getting physical retail shops open for recreational marijuana. Ontario has obviously been lagging, but Alberta has been far ahead. Alberta, as I understand it, has some ownership limits on pot shops. Is there anything you need to divest yourself of? Is that going to be a problem?
Yes, actually, great question, Greg. So Alberta has a cap of 42 stores per entity. No one can exceed that until December of 2020. So combined between us, we have 70 locations, and we intend to shut down 7 unprofitable locations. I mean, this is pretty much the norm with every retailer. So we will be at 42 locations. That will be the maximum allowed per entity. We get to high grade our portfolio. So we will solve the Alberta problem of achieving the maximum cap. And going forward, we think that Alberta will raise that cap, but we will be upon the close of the transaction, we will be at 42 stores in Alberta. That is the maximum allowed in Alberta at the moment.
When we think, Raj, of other businesses, perhaps, I don't want to say more traditional, because this business is fully legal, has been for a while, but existing business has been around for a long time. Their competition are usually, the other shops. In your case, I understand from a lot of people that the competition is still the black market. What can the government do to set up a framework where you're not in competition with other legal players and the illicit market?
No, so this is the reality. 70% of Canadians are still buying in the black market or the illicit market, and it's still very challenging for us legal retailers, that are providing employment and paying taxes. But we see this improving. The good news is that the LPs have started to do their job, and it's not their fault. They're also evolving with the evolving industry, but we've starting to see a lot more value tier products come into our portfolio to offer to consumers. So 40% of our business has now become value tier. And we see this increasing. So, the future looks friendly. We have to all work together. The government, industry partners, all of the stakeholders have to work together to fight the illicit market. And this is the main goal here. But I definitely see us, heading in the right direction there.
When you mentioned value tiers, made me think our David George Kosh, our principal person on the marijuana file at BNN Bloomberg, wrote a story for our website about he noticed this trend himself, that going to the value, you got to compete on price. But then the natural question becomes margins. Does that make it tough as you compete out there? You bring the price down. Consumers like it. Do investors like it?
Yeah, the margins are not bad to begin with. We're talking about 30 to 36% margins in dry flower and anywhere from 33 to 42% in the 2.0 products, which is the edibles, etc. So, the margins are there. And High Tide is a little bit differentiated in that sense because, we like to call ourselves the one-stop shop of cannabis. Our legacy business has been designing, manufacturing, distribution, and retail of consumption accessories. So when we welcome consumers to our store, we're giving them a full-blown choice to, not just walk with $40 of cannabis, but with a $300 vaporizer to add to the $40 of cannabis. And so from that perspective, accessories have 50% gross margin and higher. And we are the manufacturers and producers of majority of the accessories that we sell. So seed to sale, we have 70% gross margins. And talking about margins, High Tide was able to deliver industry-leading gross margins of 38% when industry norm is 31% simply because of our legacy business. So I am particularly not worried about it. I think we have a little bit of an edge over our competitors in this regard.
There was full anticipation in this space we would see consolidation. You have this hookup with Metagrowth. That satisfy your appetite for now, or are you always on the look for other hookups, acquisitions?
So look, as a public company, we want to grow by acquisition and, of course, organic growth. 33 of the 37 existing stores that we built, which are Canna Cabana stores, they were built organically. And have to have a double the lift overnight to 63 stores is tremendous. But we plan to grow both organically and by acquisition. If the right opportunity presents, we're definitely on the ball and we'll look at it. But I think we've got lots on our plate right now. And the biggest opportunity right now is to optimize and integrate what we have with Metagrowth. We see some low-hanging fruit there where we see that, some of the Meta and New Leaf stores are a bit underserved on the accessory side. So we've got some work to do, and that's going to give us a nice margin enhancement opportunity. But the beauty of High Tide is, that we are a very diversified Canadian cannabis business, since we are also manufacturers and distributors of smoking accessories. So, there's also some M&A opportunities that we have on that side. Although, immediately in the near future, right now, we're purely focused on this amazing transaction.
Interesting stuff. Thanks for taking the time to talk to us, Raj.
Yep. Thanks very much for having me. Thank you.
All right. Raj Grover, President and CEO of High Tide. When we